Welcome back to another class on Dalat Amot shel halacha. En lo lakadosh baruch hu beolamom ela arba amot shel halacha bilvad. We are in the Chazorah program in part 17. Ledat kama mirabotin aposkim din tashlum lemi shelo hivdil alakos b'mot Shabbat eno ela lemi sheshachach o ne'enas velo hivdil. According to some poskim, they hold that the whole concept of being able to make up your Havdalah, if you didn't get a chance to do it on Amot Shabbat, only applies to a person who forgot to do it on Saturday night. Or if it was out of his control and he was not able to do it on Saturday night, we'll tell him you are able to do it all day Sunday. Or, according like the Shulchan Aruch said, which we don't hold like that, Monday or Tuesday. Aval, however, ima yahadavar b'meizid, but if you didn't say Havdalah intentionally, you know you have to say it. But you said, you know what? The rabbi said you have till Sunday, some say till Tuesday. I'll wait till tomorrow. What's the big deal? Then he comes to shul the next day. Now the rabbi starts saying halachot. That if a person went ahead and he didn't do Havdalah the night before, if he did it intentionally, he's not allowed to do it. Meaning the following day. Comes Rav David Yosef Shlitai and he says that if a person was hazed, if he was intentional in not doing Havdalah, Ein lo tashlumin, you're not able to make up your Havdalah. Ve'enu rashai lavdil kol shavar mot Shabbat. You're no longer allowed to do Havdalah as long the whole night of Mot Shabbat passed. Va'afilu b'yom rishon, even on the first day, meaning even on Sunday, you're not going to be able to do Havdalah. V'yesh lachush ledivrehem, one should be concerned for their words. One should take these opinions into consideration. V'klal gadol biyadinu, and there's a very big rule in our hands. Shesafek berachot lehakehu, that whenever we have a doubt whether you should bless the blessing or not, we're going to tell you one should be lenient and not bless the blessing. Rabotai, Rav David Yosef Shlitai telling us like this: if a person forgot to do Havdalah on Mot Shabbat by accident, or it was out of his control that for whatever reason he didn't have wine in the house, whatever the situation might have been, or no beer, he didn't have nothing. Now he didn't do Havdalah on Mot Shabbat. So this person, we're going to tell him, you have all day Sunday, like we've learned in the previous class. But what happens if a person went intentionally, he knew he has to do Havdalah, but he dafka didn't do it. So this person, Rav David Yosef Shlitai, says that if all of Mot Shabbat passed, meaning all Saturday night passed, now it's already Sunday morning, he says this person, we do not give him the making up of Havdalah since he missed the mitzvah of Havdalah intentionally. And then he says one should take their words into consideration because of the concept of Safek berachot lekel. Rabotai, we did see in the Mishnah Berurah, in Siman Reishadik Tet, in halacha hey, in the Mishnah Berurah Sivkat in Tet Vav, where the Mishnah Berurah clearly says that if a person by accident didn't do Havdalah Mot Shabbat, he's able to do it on Sunday. But then the Mishnah Berurah says, Vehu adin b'meizid. The Mishnah Berurah says, then also if a person intentionally didn't do Havdalah Mot Shabbat, we're going to allow him to go ahead and do the Havdalah the following day. And we saw over there in Rabbi Dahan's Mishnah Berurah, also Rabbi Yitzchak Yosef Shlitai holds like that. So it comes out of it that there is a machloket between Rav David Yosef and Rabbi Yitzchak Yosef. Rav David Yosef Shlitai is going to tell you the makeup of Havdalah only helps to a person who by accident, or if he was forced not to say Havdalah on the Mot Shabbat, we'll give him a makeup Havdalah on Sunday. But if he did it intentionally, knowing, and he had the capability to do, but he didn't do it, we're going to tell him he lost the makeup of Havdalah. However, the Mishnah Berurah and Rav Yitzchak Yosef Shlitai say that even if a person didn't do Havdalah intentionally on Moti Shabbat, you are still allowed to do it all day Sunday, like we spoke about it in the previous class. Rabotai, halacha l'maaseh, in this we're going to go with Rav Yitzchak Yosef Shlitai and the Mishnah Berurah. So therefore, if a person didn't do Havdalah b'shoigig, b'oines, or b'meizid, by accident, or if the situation, the circumstance didn't allow him, or even if he didn't do Havdalah intentionally, we're going to tell him the makeup Havdalah he has all day Sunday, and according to Chamavadia, he has even Sunday night till the morning of Monday, meaning until dawn. Continues Rav David Yosef Shlita. Again, Rabotai, if you want to follow Rav David Yosef Shlita, you can follow him, but like I spoke about it before, we want to stick more to Rabbi Yitzchak Yosef and Rabbi Yitzchak Yosef and Chacham Ovadia. And plus, we see the Mishnah Berurah clearly also brings it down. Yes, you're going to tell me, Rabbi, you have over here Safek Berachot Lakel. Correct. If Rabbi Yitzchak Yosef was not concerned for it, we're not going to be concerned for it. You have to remember, Rabotai, they're both Gedolim, each one in their own rights. But you want to follow Rav David Yosef, you can follow. You want to follow Rabbi Yitzchak Yosef, you can follow. But take one path, choose one rabbi. In any event, Mi shehaya onen b'mot Shabbat chas v'sham lo olin, Rabotai. Before I explain this halacha, what is a onen? We have a terminology in Hebrew called an onen, lo olin, and also we have a terminology in Hebrew called an avel. An avel, everybody knows, is a mourner. When does the mourning period begin? Either once they bury Lolenu, the deceased, one of the 7 close relatives, or either once the family gives it over to like Chever Kadisha, like say to the Schwartz brother or to Mitaskin, once they give the body over to you guys do it, we don't want to have nothing to do with it, automatically that's also when Avilut can begin. The mourning period can begin. A lot of people, they bury themselves, but I'm just telling you halachically. What is an onen? Onen is a period before avilut, before mourning. Chas v'sham lo oleinu, a person lost one of the close 7 relatives. He is an onen. Why? Because they still didn't bury the deceased. As long as the deceased is not buried, he's considered to be an onen. And an onen is not allowed to do any mitzvot. He's not allowed to say any brachot. He's not allowed to do anything. He can eat normally, he can do everything, but he's not allowed to do mitzvot. He's exempt from mitzvot during that period of aninut until they bury the deceased. So comes Rav David Yosef and he says, Mi shaya onen b'mot Shabbat chas v'sham lo olenu. If somebody became an onen on Mot Shabbat, he found out that one of the 7 close relatives to him died on Mot Shabbat. Shu patur mikol mitzvot, and onen is exempt from all the mitzvot. And because of that, he didn't do Havdalah on a cup of wine on Mot Shabbat, because he's parted from mitzvot. The dead person was buried on Sunday. He should do Havdalah after the burial. עדיף שיתפלל ערבית ויבדיל על הכוס בלא נר ובסמים ביום שבת מבעוד יום אחר פלגמיך וכמו שנתפלל אל סוף סימן ריש צד ג'. Okay. Rabotai, comes Rav David Yosef Shlita and he says like this. Even though this person, he didn't pray Aravit on Mochi Shabbat, where we're going to tell you that he does not have Tashlumin, the make-up prayer for the Aravit on Sunday, Lolain Chas V'Shalom. Lolain Rabotai. A person on Shabbat, he davens, right? He davens Shacharit, Mincha, everything goes as usual. He's having Sudah Shlishit. He finished Sudah Shlishit. Now when you finish Sudah Shlishit, a lot of times you're already after Shabbat. It's already Mot Shabbat. Now Chas V'Sham Lolin, this guy, he heard about one of the close relatives that passed. Now we're going to tell him he can't daven. He can't do anything. So comes Rav David Yosef and tells you, in this situation, he's even allowed to do Havdalah even though he didn't do Aravit. And plus he does not have a makeup for this Aravit, because it's not that he didn't want to daven. He was parted from davening. When do we tell you the makeup prayer helps? That's only if you mix it by accident. Right? Or the circumstance caused you not to be able to daven. You were stuck in traffic. You really wanted to daven. You were stuck in traffic. We're going to tell you could make it up in Aravit. But over here in this situation, when a person is onen, he's patur. So therefore, there's no need to go ahead and make up that prayer. So that's what he's telling us over here. And that is, even though he didn't pray Aravit on Mot Shabbat, he does not have a makeup prayer for the Aravit on Sunday. Because usually if a person misses the prayer of Arvit at night, by accident, he's able to make it up 2 times in the morning. Nevertheless, comes Rav David Yosef and he says, Im yodei b'Shabbat sheniftar kirovo. What happens if he knows that lo leinu chas v'shalom, that the deceased died on Shabbat? He found out the news on Shabbat lo leinu. V'hiya onen b'mot Shabbat. Now he's going to be onen on Mot Shabbat. So how is he going to do Havdalah? How is he going to daven? How is he going to do anything? Comes Rav David Yosef and he says, Adiv shitpalel aravit v'yavdil alakos. It's better that he should pray aravit after Plaga Mincha and do Havdalah on a cup of wine. Belon neru b'samim b'yom Shabbat mi'b'od yom acher Plaga Mincha. You should go say aravit after Plaga Mincha when there is still day outside on a cup of wine, but you don't use a candle and you don't use spices. And then you go ahead, Rabotai, Chas Shem Loleinu. After that, when Shabbat comes over, now you become an onen, and now you did everything. You downed Arvit, and you did Havdalah, you have no problem. So let's just see this halacha outside one more time. If a person is an onen on Moti Shabbat, and they buried Loleinu, the deceased, on Sunday morning, he's allowed to go ahead and he's allowed to do Havdalah after the burial. Even though he didn't daven Arvit, and for that Arvit, we're going to tell you, there is no make a prayer for that Arvit. But, Lolen Rabotai, however, if the person knows that this deceased died on Shabbat, and he's still on Shabbat, meaning the person himself is still in Shabbat, after Plaga Mincha, we're going to tell him to go ahead and daven Arvit, do the Havdalah on the Koshel Bracha, without a candle and without Besamim, after Plaga Mincha. So this way, when Shabbat comes out, and you're not able to do the mitzvah, but it's good that you already did the mitzvah of Aravit and Havdalah. Continues Rav David Yosef, and he says, B'din amur le'el b'sifim hakudumim, in the laws that were stated above in the previous halachot, shemi shelo hivdil b'mot Shabbat yachol havdil la'achar miken. Anybody who did not do Havdalah mot Shabbat is able to do Havdalah afterwards. Ha'inu shivareh birkat bori pregeven u'birkat hamavdil ben kodesh l'chol. Which berachot are you going to say if you miss Havdalah on Mot Shabbat? On Sunday you're going to do Havdalah. Which berachot are you going to say? You're going to say only 2 berachot. The blessing of Ha'inu shivareh birkat bori pregeven. You're going to bless the blessing of bori pregeven and the blessing of hamavdil ben kodesh l'chol. Aval, however, eino mivarech birkat besamim u'birkat bori merah. However, you're not going to bless the blessing on the spices, which is borei moreh. One second. Yeah, right. You're not going to bless the blessing on the spices, and you're also not going to bless the blessing of borei moreh ha'esh only on Moti Shabbat alone. So comes Rav David Yosef and he says like this: this whole business of making up Havdalah on Sunday, there's going to be only 2 berachot that you're going to say. The blessing of Borei Perek Geffen, and then the blessing of Hamavdil ben Kodesh L'chol, with Hashem's name and His kingship. However, the blessing of Borei Moreh Ha'esh and the blessing of Besamim, you're not going to say. Okay. Rabotai, before we do close off, let's just do this one more time outside. We saw a machloket between Rav Yitzchak Yosef and Chacham David Yosef, that when it comes to making up Havdalah on Sunday, that's specifically only for a person who forgot to do it on Mot Shabbat, or if he was an oinus. But if he did it intentional, Rav David Yosef is going to tell you, you only have all Saturday night. Saturday morning you could no longer make it up, because somebody who missed Havdalah intentionally on Mot Shabbat, he can no longer make it up on Sunday morning, meaning Sunday during the day. However, according to the Mishnah Berurah and Rav Yitzchak Yosef Shlita, even if somebody missed Havdalah intentionally, we're going to give you all day Sunday. Then we spoke about Lo Leinu Chas V'Shalom. If a person is an onen on Moti Shabbat, since he can't daven Aravit, he's not able to do Havdalah, he should wait till Sunday morning after the burial. Once they bury him, then he should go ahead and do Havdalah. And for the Aravit prayer, we're going to tell him he does not have to make it up on Sunday morning, because he was exempt at that moment from praying Aravit. But we did mention what happens if the person knows, meaning he found out that on Shabbat one of the 7 close relatives died. We're going to tell him after Plaga Mincha, daven Aravit, do Havdalah on a cup of wine. Don't say the blessing on Borei Ha'esh and Borei Minei B'Samim. Leave those 2 blessings out. So this way now, Mot Shabbat, once he becomes an Onen, at least he fulfilled the mitzvah of Aravit, and meaning of praying Aravit and saying Havdalah. And last but not least, Rav David Yosef Shuta says, this whole business of making up Havdalah, what 2 barachot are you going to say on Sunday? Borei Priya Geffen blessing, and the blessing of Baruch HaMavdil ben Kodesh L'chol with Hashem's name and His kingship. However, the blessing of the candle, the light, and the blessing on the Besamim is only said on Shabbat and not on the makeup of Havdalah. Have a great day. Baruch Adonai L'olam. Amen ve'amen.